Alright, in today's video we're going to take a look at a Bachmann Branchline Class 158 two-car DMU set. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is the first DMU that I've ever purchased, and I've been trying to keep an eye out for one coming up in the States, since with shipping from the UK can get pretty expensive and the exchange rate isn't always great. But I got really lucky on this. So I had saw this reviewed a couple years ago, and I thought, oh man, I really got to get myself one of those, because it's the sound fitted model, and the detail on it looked to be really incredible, down to the door light turning off and on when you initiate the door open close sound set. And I thought, oh man. So I got really lucky. There was a guy, I'm assuming he probably got into model railroading during the pandemic, as so many people did, and he decided that he wanted to go from HO, double O to N scale, put this up for sale. It was a great deal, and I snagged it up, and supposedly it's only had a little bit of use, but you know how that goes. So we'll go ahead and take this out of here and do our usual thing. So I don't think there's going to be anything majorly wrong with this, but I really like to take these apart when I first purchase them, because I want to know what's going on, what do the gears look like, what do the wheels look like, and then hopefully, you know, somebody picks one of these up, say 5-6 years from now, for a good deal and needs to perform some repairs. Maybe my video will be useful. I think that's the main reason I do it, because I purchase a lot of used stuff, and I really rely on other videos to kind of figure out how to work on these. There's a guy named Double O Bill that, although he works primarily in older stuff, he's a really great resource, because oftentimes, even when the tooling changes, the method for opening most of these models stays relatively the same. So let's take a look. Sorry, I'm over here staring at this. Let me just adjust the camera here. Not being a very good YouTuber today. Yeah, looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks to be in good condition. Let's take a look at the wheels. Yeah, it's definitely had some run time. Nothing crazy. I don't see any major gashes in the wheels. But let's go take that jeweler's loop out. Take a closer look. I mean, you can see it's had some run time, but there's no major damage or anything on there. You can usually tell when these have either been run a lot or run at high speed, because you'll see sort of gashes and marks where they when they go between the rail joiners, and sometimes it sparks. You can see where there's been some damage, but in this case, I think it's fine. So let me go ahead and lock into focus here. So again, I don't expect there to be a whole lot of issues with this, but I'm going to go and let's look at the other one. Is there a weight? Do these both have speakers in them? I'm going to pull the other one out real fast. And if this part of the video is not of interest to you, I'll mark the timeline like I always do, or try to always remember, and you can skip forward to the end, and I'll go through the sound functions and all that good stuff. Get the plastic out of the way. So let's unlock the focus. Looking pretty good. I don't see any missing parts or damage. Man, I digress here for a second. I don't know if you remember on my last video, if anybody's been following along, I had bought some Oxford Rail, what were those? MK3s or Mark 3s? Somebody corrected me and said not to call them MK, to call them Mark. Whatever they were, whatever I showed you in the last video, I can't remember which ones they were. But I don't like them at all. The detail is fantastic, but they always decouple. It's got some weird, I'm going to have to make another video actually because it's bothering me so much. But they've got these couplers that go on, and they're like spring loaded, and half the time they decouple. If there's any unevenness in the track's not great. I had some detailed parts that fell off that weren't in the box, so I wasn't able to repair it, which I don't mind, you know, doing. That's just kind of the nature of doing some, you know, getting into model railroading. You're just going to have to glue parts back on. But I reached out to them, never heard a response, and so I don't know if I'd buy any Oxford Rail stuff again, which is too bad because the detail was great. It was just missing some parts, and the couplings they weren't that great, weren't that good. So okay, so I'm sure most people in the UK are going to be pretty familiar with these, but it looks like the front wheels just kind of lead, and the motorized wheels are back here. So this is where, if you needed to do any lubrication, it would be in here. And then I don't see an easy way to take this apart. I know somebody that's worked with this is probably like, dude, oh man, is Bachmann starting to use this spring-loaded crap too? Oh yeah, why? Why do they use these things? I hate these. This is exactly what I was talking about. See how these are? They pop out so easy and they break. They're so delicate. And then good luck trying to find parts. And it's a real shame. I know I'm, you know, preaching to the choir here, but you know, it's a real shame because when these break, you know, oftentimes you're looking at an entire model that's fine that comes down to some of these chintzy couplers. And in fact, is this not on properly? No, it's not. Big surprise. I'm all thumbs here. Okay, so let's take a look. See how that's sticking out like that? I'm pretty sure that little piece on the bottom there needs to slip in to the hole. So why? Why do they do this? Oh yeah, that thing is... Let me go see if the other one's like that. Put that down gently. It always blows my mind when people buy, you know, 300-400 pound models and they lay them upside down on their track. Yeah, this one's the same way. It's popped out. Could be the guy mishandled it, but okay, we need to get that back in there somehow. I'm going to do my best to show you what's going on. So, where's my pointer stick? Sorry, this was a bit of an impromptu video today. But if we take a look, see that little piece right there? That should be sitting underneath here, like it's popped out on both of them. So what this tells me probably happened is the gentleman that had this before me probably had these, it looks like these connect together, and he's probably lifted them off the track and bent it, because it's kind of a weird system anyway, and it's probably popped right out. So for any of you out there that have DMUs, how common is this? I bet you it's pretty common, so maybe we can just kind of, I don't want to break it, especially on camera since I need to keep this G-rated, because if it pops out, I'm going to be a little pissed off. Stupid things. Yeah, look how easy that comes out. All right. So I'm going to pause this video while I pop that back in. Okay. I'm back. So this, in case you happen to get one of these used or even new, this is what it's supposed to look like. It should be flush with the end of the body. And all I did was, because we're going to have to do it on the other one, is I personally don't like when people use flathead screwdrivers because there's just such a risk to damaging the model. So these plastic openers, I mean, you can get them super cheap on Amazon, really anywhere. They're pretty common. They're used for, I think, primarily working on cell phones. And so there's a pointed end and a flat end. And all I did was, this one's particularly bad. So I'm going to take this part and push. So I'm going to line it up straight. Like, this one's even worse than the other. Get in there. I'm going to line this up straight because I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. I'm going to push it back, and there's just enough that this little piece right here will line up with the hole here, and then when it's basically resting on the edge right here, I'll take the pointy part and push it down. That's what I did off camera. Let's see if I can do it again. See if I can zoom in even more. You might be able to see it. That's the best I can do. I hate this style. But if they're using it, maybe other people like it. Dang, how did this one get so bad? That's the problem with buying used stuff. You never know what surprise you're going to get. But still, if we can get this fixed without damaging anything, sorry I keep flipping this around, then I managed to get this for, what would that be equivalent to in pounds? About 150 pounds, I think. Pretty good. These I think are about 300 pounds new, which is crazy. The prices the Brits pay for models is way more than American stuff. Alright, what the heck is going on here? I gotta take it off camera for just a second because I can't actually see what's going on. It's really popped out. So I'm going to keep the video rolling while we go through this incredibly frustrating process. So that needs to go back. Oh, that was just pure luck. Alright, I'm going to push this forward, push it down. So over here, and I'm going to take... Okay, I'm going to show you. Alright, see how it's almost in? And then I'm going to push down on that. Oh, went in on its own. Okay, so there we go. Moving back and forth. Still, I don't like them. I like the old school Hornby couplers. Even the small miniature versions they have out now. Alright. It's always stressful when you're dealing with something, you know, if you break it, it's going to cost you hundreds of pounds to replace. So, what do we want to do next here? So I want to take this apart because I want to see how the inside works. I want to see the inside. I want to oil these, or at least take a look. Even though this model, it can't be that old, more than a few years old. It's probably fine, but I still want to get in here just to see how this thing ticks, because inevitably you're going to run into some issues. It looks like you can see the axle right there. It's going to need a little bit of grease, I can already tell, not much. So, all right, I see a screw here, and I see another one here. So that's probably the left side, but I don't see anything here on the right. So let's zoom out while I try to look for the other screws. There's no way that they only have the screws on one side, but maybe they do. And this model did not come, it seems, with the instructions. So, all right, let's just start digging into it. That should do the trick. So we're going to get in here. Unscrew this. I need to magnetize this. This little guy is pretty cool. You can magnetize and demagnetize your screwdrivers. It's made by a company called Klein. Pretty excited to finally have a DMU. Ah, okay. So see how I took those screws out on this side? Let me just set the focus to infinite here. Don't just pull it. There's some tabs. You gotta have to kind of gently squeeze these here. Yeah, there's a tab on each side, it looks like. So I'm gonna just kind of give this a little... Don't break on me, DMU. There we go. Out it comes. So when you pull it out, you've got the screws that go... Come on. You got the screws that go on there, but then you've got these little tabs. And I know you're not going to be able to tell this on the camera, but this plastic is kind of thin. So I don't think it would take a whole lot to snap that thing. So, all right. So the camera seems to have cooled down, so we should be good to go for hopefully another 30 minutes or so. Let's see how this goes. So I don't see any other screws on here. And then the other thing I hadn't noticed is, until I was kind of staring at these while I was waiting for the phone to cool down, is that I think there's supposed to be some couplers that go in here, and they are missing. So I'm gonna have to reach out to the seller and see if he has them, and if he doesn't, well, oh well. That's just kind of how it goes. So I don't see any other screws here, so I'm going to assume that probably, because I saw Double O Bill take an older one of these apart, and I'm going to assume that probably similar to the class 47 units, that there's probably clips here. And you'll remember I created a video showing you how to take it off without damaging the windows, and I took it off and damaged the windows. So let's see if we can do that here without damaging anything. And if we do, well, you'll know what not to do. Let's get that in there. I usually use plastic, slide them in there, but when I saw Double O Bill use the toothpicks, I thought, huh, that's a good idea. I've got some toothpicks. Or maybe not. Maybe this will be a crappy idea and it'll break in there. I like that toothpick is starting to break, so we'll throw that over there. So is this going to be enough to get this out? I wonder if the other guy tried to take this. I wonder if that's how he broke. The guy that owned this before, if that's how this broke. Maybe he tried to take this apart. I don't know. Sketchy. Oh. Nice, Double O Bill. That worked pretty well. So I've got the 4 toothpicks here. I hope this doesn't pop out again. And then there's a hole right here. I'm just kind of sticking the plastic opener into that and just gently prying it up. This side is not coming up as easy as the other. So let's kind of pull this out and see where we go. Yep. So look, there's some little stupid focus. There's you can see the clip hole right there. So it's probably the same here on the other side. But this side doesn't want to come up. Is there any screws? Oh, there is a little damage. There's some marks right here. I don't think that was from me, so it's either derailed or somebody has been in here. Come on. It's going to really blow if we go through all this work. I haven't hooked this up yet. And we find out, hopefully there's no wires there, and we find out this thing doesn't work. I should start my videos out by just sticking these on the track. I don't know why I've always done it this way, but I find that, you know, if I take these apart to service and oil them, and if there's an issue while they're taken apart, then I already have it open. Oh man, come on. There we go. It's like a call me the train surgeon. Let's go. Get out. So one side's coming out pretty easy, but this side here does not want to come out. What's the deal? Oh yeah. There's no wires. Oh, why will that front does not come off? I know I'm taking forever here, but I've learned the hard way that anytime something doesn't want to come out, it's usually because there's a screw, there's another clip that doesn't come undone. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Jeez. All right. So let's take a look at the shell, see what's going on here. Hold on, I have to sneeze. All right, so not much going on inside the shell, which is good. There's no wires or anything. I had a like a BNSF when I was doing American model railroading for a while, and you would take the shell off. I think it was that a Bachmann? Yeah, it was Bachmann Spectrum, I think. And when you would take the case off, there's just like hair thin wires everywhere. But like on the Class 47s, you normally have like those little, you know, those little gold electrical connectors on each side that kind of light things up. But on this one, that doesn't look to be the case. And let's take a look. How does this thing tick? So this probably ensures that there's a little bit of power when you have dead spots on your track. Little capacitor there. This is the lights for when the doors open and close. Kind of surprised at how cleanly done this is. I mean, man, model trains have just come such a long way. Bachmann always puts a driver. Did they stop doing that? Yeah, no driver. It's kind of sad. So at least in the way of servicing, it doesn't look like there's really much in here. I suppose the only reason you'd ever want to take this apart is maybe to do like a, I don't know, like a speaker upgrade, which, I don't know, I'm assuming there's probably some kind of like little ice cube speaker in here. I see a bunch of wires. I'm not 100% sure if that's what it is, but since I've never owned one of these, but I'm assuming that's probably a little speaker. I've got some iPhone speakers. I actually put sound in a Class 47 and didn't record it. Put an iPhone speaker in there. It sounds pretty great. Cool. So you've seen the inside. So yeah, again, just quick recap in case you ever have to take this apart. It looks like you've got an LED here that probably lights up the you know, the little board that says where you're going, signboard. It looks like the LEDs for the headlights are right here. Be a real pain in the butt to service if those ever went out. You could put some passengers in there if you wanted to, pretty easy. You got your side light, and you could potentially change the LED, but you'd really have to do some fine soldering if that ever went out, but it would be possible. And then here's where it looks like everything connects. That's pretty neat. I would be willing to bet you could probably take the screws off of this, and as long as you're careful of this connector right here, then you'd be all right. Oh yeah, look underneath. Just look at those LEDs down there. Okay, so nothing in here to service. Not like the class, you know, the Class 47. You got to kind of get inside to get to the wheels. So let's see. So it looks like the only place, again, there's going to be gears is in this. So I'm going to take this apart because I service all my units every 3 to 5 years ish. I know that seems like a long time, but I run them enough that that's usually all I need. So to get these off, these trucks off, or the bogie covers, I think it's what you guys call them over there. There's a little clip here. Here, you take a plastic opener like this and just get underneath there. So let me see if I can get that on camera best that I can. Just get your plastic opener underneath that clip, and this will pop right off, and I'll show it to you in a second. These also love to snap, so wish me luck. And you want to be real careful because you get the air compressors here on each side, the air compressor details. So you know what? Actually, I'm going to take it off from this side. Try to. All right, I'm going to break my own rule. I always say use a plastic opener, but I just can't get in there without a flat head, which I really don't like using because oftentimes it's just too rough on the parts. And I really want to get to those wheels because they look pretty dirty. From this side, I wonder. Oh yeah. There we go. Huh. Okay, so let me show excuse me, show you what I was doing. I know a lot of you are going to know how to do this, but you can see there's a little clip holder there and a clip holder there. So I just I took a little flathead, and you just kind of want to go in there and just take your time because these things will break. And good luck trying to find this. I mean, I guess if you're in the UK, you probably get some spare parts like Peter's Spares or something, but he charges like 50, 60 US dollars shipping for like a $2 part. It's not practical if you're anywhere else in the world. But there you go, came off. That lets me take a look. So the oil in here is fairly dried up, but not too bad, not the worst I've seen. So I'm going to clean the wheels, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and then I'm going to put some, let's do some Labelle 106, which is a little thicker, and I may mix it with just a tiny bit of 102, just to kind of work through those gears because they're looking a little dry. So let's go ahead and get to work here. And on the wheels, I'm just going to use some isopropyl 70. Nothing crazy. Now, if the wheels end up being particularly bad, I've got one of those things you can stick on the track that has copper in it. You know, you kind of plop it on the track, stick the wheels on top, and they'll spin around, and the copper will clean it. But that's only for the real tough jobs when you got a lot of grime or buildup for people who have big layouts. There's a guy out here that I know that's a actually he's a client of mine, and he has a layout in his basement, and it's, I'm not kidding, it's massive. It's, gosh, it's got to be about 2,000 square feet. Just unbelievable compared to my shunting layout, which I'm happy with. And that's the thing with model trains. You know, you've got these big layouts which are cool to admire, but it's not necessary. If you live in an apartment or you just don't have a lot of room, then you know, you can get a 10, 6, even 6 for HO or 006 is, I guess you could go down to like 4 feet. You could probably do a little shunting layout with a single engine, couple bits of freight, but you don't need a lot of room to get into model railroading. You can get really creative, and that's one of the reasons I like British modeling, is that they are the experts at making awesome layouts in small spaces. That was dirty, not too bad. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. So gears are pretty small here, so you can see this Q-tip was a little dirty. Not bad. So I'm gonna take some of the Labelle 106, and it should work its way through the gears. You don't really need a lot of it there. Just a tiny bit of the 102. Let me fix that focus for you. So I'm just going to put just a little drop there. Little tiny drop here. Here. That'll do it. DCC sound. We'll see. I haven't seen the decoder. Where's the decoder on these things? Spread this out. Yes, I think that's on. Let's give it a little wiggle here. Yep, seems to be on. Well, that was easy. So let's get the wheels cleaned on this side. That's probably a bit much. Should have cleaned off the alcohol. Yeah, the wheels on this really aren't too bad. Like I said, it's definitely had some run time, but Nothing too crazy, I don't think. And in the pictures from this listing, and I looked it up, I did a conversion, by the way, it worked out to be 160 pounds for you guys overseas. So that's a very good deal for this. It looked like he was using Bachmann Easy Track or something, and I think I saw a DC controller. So I'm assuming these can be run DC. So I kind of wonder if he, you know, he's a non-DCC guy, perhaps, and ran it that way. And the reason I bring that up is because if you buy a DCC model that's run by a guy that only uses DC, in order, I mean, I don't know how well these works. I haven't used DCC in quite a, DC in quite a while. Is that you used to have to, in order to get light, power to the lights, you used to have to run them pretty fast. And so if you get a hybrid model that runs on both variants, DC and DCC, the DC guy will always run the trains pretty quick. Like they love to have them zooming around the track, and that's fine, but it's usually more wear and tear on the motor, wear and tear on the gears, and you know, something to kind of be aware of. Speaking of which, where the heck is the motor on this thing? I'm not going to go digging, but if anybody knows, where's the motor? Is it just like a little pancake motor, like the HSTs? How is this thing powered? Is it in there? Is the motor in there? It's tiny. Oh no, I see. Okay, it must be in here. And given the shape, I wonder if it's kind of one of those standard, you know, little silver motors you see in like the RC cars and stuff. Oh yeah, you know what? We gotta add a little oil to the axle here before we close this up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to finish adding a little oil here, and then I'm going to stop the video because I'm going to do the same process with the other one. But unless you're looking for some ASMR, and I'm not the guy for that, then it's just going to be the same thing over again. And then when the video comes back on, we'll stick this on the layout, get it hooked up to the programming track, and then I'll probably put it on GMRI and pull the readings to make sure everything's working. Oh man, can I get back there? So let's see if I can get a little drop of oil into on the other side of this axle in here. It's all black. Oh, there it is. Oh man, get in there. In fact, add a little 102 in there. It is really hard to see. It's not even going to show on camera because it's just black on black. Okay. Nice. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get the shell back on. I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to do the same thing to the other unit, and when I start the camera back up, we'll be on the layout. All right, so let's take a look at some of the lighting features. So we've got the front and back lights going on here, or the front and rear, and then we can also switch between daylight and evening, which is kind of a nice touch. You can also turn on the lights on the interior. I'll show you. So we'll go ahead and turn on the interior lights. Now the camera's not picking it up real well, but it looks pretty nice. Let me just go ahead and zoom in there. It even kind of fades when you turn them off and on, which is nice. All right, so let's go ahead and go through some of these sounds. Hopefully you hear my voice since I don't have my wireless mic on. So let's go ahead and start it up. Single horn. And the two-tone. I don't know why the two-tone's not working. Oh, there we go. And we'll do the door opening and closing. When I'm doing that, pay attention to the little light over here. So its doors open. And doors close. And it looks like we've got station ambience. Something called remote telephone test. And if it sounds sort of muffled, it does actually sound like that outside of the camera too. It's sort of a muffled sound. And we'll go ahead and run it forward and backwards. Now, one thing that's kind of nice that I noticed when I moved it onto platform 3 is when you start the motor and the brakes turn off and it does that slow, easy acceleration, that's not me controlling it. Oop, there goes the camera. That actually is built in, so it waits for a second, and it seems that the momentum is timed up with the engine sound, which is kind of nice. Let's move it backwards. Nice. So looks like we got ourselves another working model. So thanks so much for watching this video. I know it was a little bit long. Hopefully you got something out of this. We'll go ahead and hit the outro, and we'll show some footage of this Class 58 moving around the layout. Thanks so much. Until next time. Bye-bye.